Once upon a time, in the midst of World War II, amidst the chaos and destruction, an unlikely friendship blossomed between two soldiers from opposing sides. It was 1944, and the war raged on fiercely in the European theater. On one side of the conflict was Lieutenant James, a young American soldier from New York. He was stationed in France, fighting bravely alongside his comrades to liberate the country from Nazi occupation. On the other side was Hans, a German soldier serving in the Wehrmacht. He was stationed in a small village near the French-German border, tasked with defending against the Allied advance. Despite being on opposite sides of the conflict, both James and Hans shared a common humanity that transcended the boundaries of war. Their paths crossed one fateful day when James's platoon launched an assault on the village where Hans was stationed. Amidst the chaos of battle, James and Hans found themselves face to face, their rifles pointed at each other. But instead of pulling the trigger, something remarkable happened. In a moment of hesitation, James saw the humanity in Hans's eyes, and Hans saw the same in James's. They both lowered their weapons, realizing that they were not so different from each other after all. Despite the language barrier, they managed to communicate through gestures and broken phrases. As the battle raged on around them, James and Hans formed an unlikely bond, sharing stories of their lives before the war, their hopes and their fears. They discovered that they both had families waiting for them back home and dreams of a peaceful future. As days turned into weeks, James and Hans continued to defy the expectations of their comrades by refusing to fight each other. Instead, they worked together to help civilians caught in the crossfire, providing food and medical aid to those in need. Their friendship did not go unnoticed, however, and soon they faced criticism and suspicion from their fellow soldiers. But James and Hans remained steadfast in their belief that friendship and compassion were more powerful than hate and violence. Eventually, the war came to an end, and James and Hans found themselves on opposite sides once again. But their friendship endured, serving as a testament to the power of humanity in the face of adversity. Years later, long after the guns had fallen silent, James and Hans reunited in a small village in France. They embraced as old friends, grateful for the bond that had transcended the horrors of war. Their story served as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, friendship and compassion can shine through, bringing hope and healing to a world torn apart by conflict.